The first ships appeared on a Tuesday morning, hanging in the sky like dark clouds that refused to move. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Liberty, watching through his binoculars as more vessels dropped out of what looked like tears in space itself. Each ship was the size of a city block, their hulls black as coal and covered in strange blue lights. "Sir, we're getting the same reports from every fleet around the world," said Lieutenant Lisa Park, her voice tight. "With fear. London, Tokyo, New York, Moscow. They're everywhere." Jake lowered his binoculars. In 30 years of naval service, he had never seen anything like this. The alien ships just sat there, silent and waiting. No radio signals, no demands. Just an overwhelming presence that made every human on Earth feel very small. "Have we tried to contact them?" Jake asked. "Every frequency we know, sir." Nothing back. 3 hours later, everything changed. The ships began to move, slowly at first, then faster. They descended toward Earth's major cities like predators circling their prey. Jake watched as smaller craft poured from the massive vessels, thousands of them, each one glowing with that same eerie blue light. The first attack came at dawn. Jake's radar operator called out targets approaching the fleet at impossible speeds. "Incoming missiles, sir!" "No, wait, they're not missiles. I don't know what they are." Jake grabbed his radio. "All ships, this is Admiral Morrison, battle stations. Prepare to engage." The alien fighters swept over the Pacific Fleet like a storm. Their weapons fired beams of pure energy that cut through naval armor like it was paper. The destroyer USS Phoenix exploded in a ball of fire within seconds. The cruiser San Antonio followed moments later. "Return fire!" Jake shouted. "All batteries, open fire." The human ships unleashed everything they had. Missiles, torpedoes, and cannon shells filled the air. Most of the weapons simply bounced off the alien hulls or were destroyed by energy shields that flickered around each craft. A few lucky hits caused minor damage, but it was like throwing rocks at a tank. Captain Ben Carter was having the same problem in the sky above Los Angeles. His F-22 Raptor was one of 50 fighters trying to stop the alien craft from reaching the city. The enemy ships moved like nothing he had ever seen, making turns that should have killed any pilot inside. "Fox 2, Fox 2. Ben called out as he fired his missiles. He watched them streak toward an alien fighter, only to see them absorbed by some kind of energy field. "Damn it, nothing's working." His wingman, Major Tony Walsh, came over the radio. "Ben, we've lost half the squadron. These things are too fast." Ben pulled his fighter into a steep climb, trying to get above an alien craft. As he did, he saw the full scope of what was happening. Los Angeles was burning. Alien ships hovered over the city, firing down at anything that moved. Explosions lit up the sky. People were running through the streets in panic. "This is Ghost Leader to all units," Ben said into his radio. "We're not stopping them. Fall back to secondary positions." On the other side of the world, in a research station buried deep in the Antarctic ice, Dr. Amy Richardson was seeing something impossible on her computer screens. She was a glaciologist, someone who studied ice and climate. Her job was to monitor the thickness of the ice sheet and track changes in temperature. She was not supposed to be seeing massive energy readings coming from 2 miles beneath her feet. "This can't be right," she said to herself, checking the sensors again. The readings showed something huge moving down there, something that was generating more power than a nuclear reactor. Dr. Richardson called her colleague, Dr. Paul Jensen, who was working at the other end of the station. "Paul, are you seeing these energy readings?" "What energy readings?" Paul's voice came over the intercom. "Check your seismic monitors. There's something down there, and it's getting stronger." Paul's voice came back a few minutes later, filled with confusion. "Amy, this doesn't make sense. The readings show something artificial, something big. But there's nothing down there except ice. There's never been anything down there except ice." Amy stared at her screens. The energy signatures were growing, stronger by the hour. Whatever was down there, it was waking up. And somehow, she knew it was connected to the alien ships that had just appeared in Earth's skies, back in the Pacific, Jake Morrison was fighting a losing battle. Half his fleet was gone. The aliens had not even used their main ships yet, just the smaller fighters. Reports were coming in from around the world. Every major military force on Earth was being destroyed. The aliens were not just winning. They were crushing humanity without breaking a sweat. "Sir," Lisa Park called out from her communications station. "We're getting a transmission. It's from the aliens." Jake felt his heart skip. "Put it through." A voice filled the bridge, speaking perfect English but with a strange accent. "People of Earth, you have fought bravely, but uselessly. Your weapons cannot harm us. Your resistance is meaningless. We are the hegemony, rulers of 1,000 worlds. You will surrender now, or we will take your planet by force." Jake grabbed his radio. "This is Admiral Morrison of the Earth Defense Forces. What do you want? Your world will become part of our empire. Your people will serve us. You have 1 hour to surrender your governments, or we will begin orbital bombardment of your cities." The transmission ended. Jake looked around at his crew. Fear was written on every face. Earth's strongest weapons had barely scratched the alien ships. An hour was not enough time to evacuate the cities. They were trapped, but 3,000 miles away. In the depths of the Antarctic ice, something ancient was stirring. Dr. Amy Richardson watched her screens as the energy readings spiked higher than ever before. Deep beneath the frozen wasteland, something that had been sleeping for millions of years was finally waking up. And it was very, very angry. The ice began to crack. Image description for Leonardo AI. Massive black alien motherships with glowing blue lights hovering menacingly over Earth cities. Smaller alien fighters with energy beams destroying human military ships and aircraft. Explosions and fire in the sky, desperate human pilots in cockpits. Naval battle scene in the Pacific Ocean with burning warships, Antarctic Research Station. With cracking ice sheets showing mysterious blue energy emanating from deep underground. Dramatic sky with alien invasion, photorealistic military science fiction scene. The hour passed like a nightmare. When the alien deadline expired, the bombardment began. Jake Morrison watched from his damaged ship as beams of energy fell from the sky like deadly rain. Every beam that touched the ocean turned a square mile of water into steam. The few remaining ships in his fleet scattered like leaves in a hurricane. "Sir, we're getting reports from Los Angeles," Lisa Park called out, her voice shaking. "The aliens are landing ground forces." In Los Angeles, Sergeant Ryan Kelly crouched behind the wreckage of a burned-out car, watching alien soldiers march down what used to be Sunset Boulevard. The creatures were 7 feet tall, covered in armor that seemed to shift and move like liquid metal. Their weapons fired the same blue energy beams that had destroyed the fleet. "Second squad, fall back to the museum," Ryan spoke into his radio. "We can't hold this position." His Marines were brave, but they were fighting an impossible battle. Their bullets bounced off alien armor. Their rockets did little more than slow the invaders down. For every alien they managed to kill, 10 more took its place. Ryan's radio crackled. "Sergeant Kelly, this is Captain Stone. We're pulling back to the hills. The city is lost." Ryan looked around at his men. Half were wounded, all were scared. But they were still fighting. "Copy that, sir. Second squad moving out." As Ryan's squad retreated through the burning streets, strange reports were coming in from around the world. In Moscow, the Russian army was fighting street by street. In London, the Royal Air Force was down to its last few planes. In Beijing, millions of people were fleeing the city as alien ships turned skyscrapers into rubble. But the strangest reports were coming from Antarctica.NSA headquarters in Maryland. Analyst Kate Sullivan was staring at data that made no sense. Her job was to monitor communications from around the world, looking for threats to national security. What she was seeing now was bigger than any threat she had ever imagined. "The signals from Antarctica are getting stronger," she said to her supervisor, Director Mike Barnes. "Whatever's down there, it's responding to the alien presence." Mike looked at the data on Kate's screen. Lines of energy readings spiked and fell like a heartbeat. "Have you been able to decode any of it?" "That's the weird part, sir. Some of it looks like mathematical formulas. Others look like well, like star charts. But they're more detailed than anything we've ever seen. 3,000 miles away. Dr. Amy Richardson was watching the ice around her research station melt at an impossible rate. The temperature outside was still minus 40 degrees, but the ice was turning to water and flowing away in streams. "Nick, you need to see this," she called to the station commander. Nick Hughes. Nick joined her at the observation window. Below them, geometric patterns were becoming visible in the ice. Perfect lines and angles that stretched for miles. "That's not natural," he said quietly. Dr. Megan Torres, the team geologist, was running tests on ice samples. "Amy, this ice isn't what we thought it was. Look at these readings." Amy looked at Megan's computer screen. The ice samples showed layers that went back millions of years, but there was something wrong with them. These patterns suggest the ice was placed here deliberately, like someone was trying to cover something up. Nick grabbed his radio. "This is Antarctic Research Station Alpha calling any station. We have a major situation here. The ice sheet is melting from below and we're seeing artificial structures." The response came from Kate Sullivan at the NSA. "Station Alpha, this is NSA Control. We've been monitoring your energy readings." "What exactly are you seeing?" Amy took the radio from Nick. "The ice is revealing structures that look like they were built by an advanced civilization. But the carbon dating says they're millions of years old." Back in Los Angeles, Ryan Kelly was learning that the aliens had problems of their own. His squad had taken position on a hill overlooking the city. Through his binoculars he could see alien forces moving through the streets, but something was wrong with them. "Sergeant, look at that," said Private Danny Walsh, pointing at a group of alien soldiers near the museum. "They keep stopping and looking around like they're lost or something." Ryan adjusted his binoculars. The aliens were behaving strangely. They would move forward, then stop and cluster together as if they were talking. Their formation, which had been perfect during the initial attack, was becoming loose and confused. "Maybe they're having communication problems," Ryan said. "Could be our lucky break." What Ryan didn't know was that the alien confusion was spreading across the globe. In their command ships, alien officers were reporting the same thing. Their psychic scanning systems, which could read the thoughts and intentions of any species, were failing. Every time they tried to scan Earth, they got nothing but static when they pointed their sensors toward Antarctica. Admiral Zextai of the Hegemony Fourth Fleet was becoming concerned. His species had conquered hundreds of worlds, and they had never encountered anything like this. "Report," he demanded from his scanning officer. "Sir, our psychic nets are being disrupted. We can read human minds everywhere except in the southern polar region. Something down there is blocking us." "What kind of something?" "Unknown, sir. But the energy signature is ... dosive, and it's getting stronger." On the bridge of his damaged ship, Jake Morrison was getting reports that gave him the first hope he had felt all day. "The alien advance has slowed in every major city," Lisa Park reported. "Our forces are still losing, but not as fast as before." "Why would they slow down when they're winning?" Jake asked. "Unknown, sir, but there's something else. We're getting reports of equipment failures on alien ships near the South Pole." In Antarctica, Dr. Amy Richardson was watching her instruments as energy readings reached levels that should have been impossible. The structures beneath the ice were not just geometric patterns anymore, they were buildings. Massive buildings. With technology that her equipment could barely detect. "Nick, I think we need to evacuate," she said. "These energy levels are off the charts." But Nick was staring at his communications equipment. "Amy, we're getting a signal, not from Earth, it's coming from below us." The signal was in a language none of them recognized, but somehow Amy found herself understanding parts of it. Words formed in her mind. Awakening ... protocol ... defense. Children of Earth. Around the world, the alien invasion was still destroying human cities and killing millions of people. But for the first time since the ships had appeared, the aliens seemed uncertain. Their perfect formation was breaking down. Their advance was slowing ... deep beneath the Antarctic ice. Something that had been sleeping for millions of years was finally opening its eyes. And it was not happy about the uninvited guests in Earth's sky. Image description for Leonardo AI. Alien ground forces with liquid metal armor marching through burning Los Angeles streets, human marines in combat gear. Retreating through destroyed city. Massive geometric patterns and ancient structures visible beneath melting Antarctic ice. NSA control room with analysts studying mysterious energy readings on computer screens. Confused alien soldiers clustering together looking disoriented. Research station on Antarctic ice with geometric patterns emerging from below. Dramatic lighting. With fires and energy beams, photorealistic military science fiction scene. The ice cracked with a sound like thunder. Dr. Amy Richardson felt the ground shake beneath her feet as lines of light appeared in the frozen wasteland, stretching for hundreds of miles in perfect geometric patterns. What rose from beneath the ice was impossible. "My God," whispered Nick Hughes, staring through the observation window. "Those aren't natural formations." Rising from the Antarctic ice was a city? Not ruins, but a complete, intact city made of materials that gleamed like silver and crystal. Towers stretched up into the sky, connected by bridges that seemed to float in the air without any support. The entire complex was the size of Manhattan, and it was growing larger as more ice melted away. Dr. Alex Stone, the xenorchaeologist, who had been flown in that morning, could barely speak. In 20 years of studying ancient civilizations, he had never seen anything like this. "The architecture," he said slowly. "It's not alien. Look at the proportions, the way the buildings are designed. This was built by humans." "That's impossible," said Dr. Megan Torres. "Humans didn't have this kind of technology millions of years ago. We were barely more than animals." But Alex was examining the symbols carved into the nearest building through his binoculars. "These aren't alien symbols." "I can read some of them. They're based on human languages, but much more advanced versions." In Washington, Kate Sullivan was watching the same images on her computer screen, transmitted from spy satellites above Antarctica. "Director Barnes, you need to see this. The energy field around Antarctica is expanding. It's already reached Australia." Mike Barnes looked at the data. "What kind of effect is it having?" "Alien ships that enter the field are experiencing complete system failures. Their weapons stop working. Their engines shut down. 3 alien cruisers have already crashed into the ocean." At the same time, fighter pilot Chris Ward was flying a reconnaissance mission over the Antarctic when something impossible happened. His F-18 Super Hornet, which had been barely holding together after the alien attacks, suddenly began running better than it ever had before. "Control, this is Eagle One," Chris said into his radio. "My system's just got a major upgrade. I'm showing energy readings I've never seen before." "What do you mean by upgrade, Eagle One?" Chris looked at his instrument panel. New displays had appeared showing information he didn't understand but somehow knew how to read. "My radar range just tripled. My engines are running at 150% efficiency, and I've got weapon systems I've never seen before." Back at the Antarctic Research Station, Dr. Ashley Davis, a linguist who specialized in ancient languages, was trying to decode the symbols on the buildings. "I think I'm getting something," she said. "These symbols keep repeating the word sanctuary, and something that translates to Protocol 7. Amy Richardson's instruments were going crazy. The energy output from the city is beyond anything we can measure. Whatever's powering it, it's more advanced than nuclear fusion." As if responding to her words, a section of the nearest building began to glow. A doorway appeared in the smooth wall, outlined in the same blue light they had seen on the alien ships, but somehow different, warmer, more welcoming. "Someone should go in there," said Nick Hughes. Alex Stone was already putting on his cold weather gear. "I'll go." This is the greatest archaeological discovery in human history. As Alex approached the building, the doorway expanded to accommodate him. Inside, the walls were lined with displays showing star charts, mathematical formulas, and what looked like technical specifications for machines beyond current human understanding. A voice spoke to him, not out loud but directly in his mind. The language was English, but spoken with an accent he had never heard before. "Welcome, descendant. You have arrived at the appointed time. Alex nearly fell down. Who are you? What is this place? I am the Keeper. This is Sanctuary 1, built by your ancestors before the Great Reset. We have waited 47 million years for this day. The Great Reset? Images filled Alex's mind. He saw Earth as it once was, covered with cities like the one he was standing in. He saw humans traveling between the stars in ships that made the alien vessels look like toys. He saw a vast empire that stretched across the galaxy. Your species once ruled the stars, the Keeper continued. But power corrupted, and war came. Rather than let humanity destroy itself completely, the wisest among your ancestors chose the reset protocol. The cities were buried. The population was reduced to small tribes. The plan was to let humanity evolve naturally once more, while the technology waited beneath the ice. Why now? Alex asked. Because the hegemony has come? They are the descendants of species that once served your empire. They do not know what humanity truly is, only that you were once powerful. They fear you might remember. On the surface, more buildings were rising from the ice. Amy Richardson watched in amazement as the city expanded before her eyes. Docking bays were opening, revealing ships that had been waiting in perfect preservation for millions of years. The ships began to activate. Their hulls were made of the same silver material as the buildings, but as they powered up, they began to glow with an inner light that made them look alive. One ship, sleek and deadly, rose from its docking bay and hovered silently above the city. In space above Earth, Admiral Zextai of the Hegemony was receiving reports that made his blood run cold. Sir, our entire 4th battle group has lost power. They're drifting in the void. How many ships? 200 vessels, sir. All systems dead. But sir, there's something else. We're detecting massive energy signatures from the planet's surface. The readings match ... Match what? Ancient human technology, sir, from the old empire. Zextai felt fear for the first time in his long military career. Every child in the galaxy knew the stories of the human empire. The species that had once conquered the stars with technology so advanced it seemed like magic. The empire that had vanished without a trace, leaving only legends and warnings. Impossible, he whispered. The humans were destroyed. They're primitives. Now, but even as he spoke, more human ships were rising from the Antarctic ice. Each one was larger than his flagship, and the energy readings they produced made his most advanced sensors overload. On Earth, the tide was about to turn. Image description for Leonardo AI. Massive silver and crystal city rising from cracking Antarctic ice. Ancient human architecture with floating bridges and gleaming towers. Geometric patterns of light in the ice. Human fighter pilot in cockpit with upgraded alien-looking displays. Alien warships drifting powerless in space. Sleek silver human spacecraft emerging from underground docking bays. Xenorchaeologist inside futuristic human building with holographic displays. Dramatic lighting with aurora effects over Antarctica, photorealistic ancient human technology awakening scene. The Keeper's voice filled Alex Stone's mind as more images flowed through his consciousness. He saw the truth about humanity's past, and it was more incredible than anything he had imagined. Your ancestors were not perfect, the Keeper explained. Power corrupted them as it corrupts all species. Wars broke out between human colonies. Entire star systems were destroyed. The leaders realized that if humanity continued on that path, they would destroy themselves and take half the galaxy with them. Alex watched the images of the Great Reset. Massive ships had bombarded Earth from orbit, not to destroy it, but to carefully erase all traces of advanced civilization. Cities were buried under ice and stone. The population was reduced to small groups of survivors who had their memories altered to forget the empire. But why keep the technology hidden for so long? Alex asked. Because your species needed to learn wisdom through hardship. You needed to develop naturally, to understand the value of life and peace. The genetic locks in your DNA would only respond when humanity had proven itself ready. As the Keeper spoke, Alex felt something changing inside him. His mind was expanding, connecting the systems throughout the ancient city. He could suddenly understand technologies that had been beyond human knowledge for millions of years. On the surface, Dr. Luke Adams, a marine biologist who had been studying Antarctic wildlife, was experiencing the same transformation. He had volunteered to help with the evacuation, but when he touched one of the ancient consoles, something incredible happened. "I can read it," he said in amazement, looking at displays that had been meaningless symbols moments before. "It's like the information is being downloaded directly into my brain." Dr. Nicole Green, a computer scientist from MIT who had been flown in to study the alien technology, found herself interfacing with computer systems more advanced than anything Earth had ever created. "This is impossible," she said, her hands moving over controls that responded to her thoughts. "These systems are recognizing my DNA. They know I'm human." The ancient city was coming alive around them. Lights activated throughout the complex. Machines that had been dormant for millions of years began to hum with power. In the deepest levels of the city, massive factories started producing weapons and equipment designed for modern human bodies. Admiral Jake Morrison received the message while his battered fleet was trying to regroup in the South Pacific. "Sir, we're getting a transmission from Antarctica. They say they have something for us." "What kind of something?" "Ships, sir. Human ships. They want to transfer command to you." An hour later, Jake found himself standing on the bridge of a vessel that defied everything he knew about physics. The ship was called the Avalon, and it was 3 miles long. Its hull was made of materials that could survive the heat of a star. Its weapons could destroy planets. "Welcome aboard, Admiral," said Commander Matt Robinson, who had been serving as Jake's aide but was now interfacing with the ship's systems like he had been born to it. "The ship recognizes your command codes." "Command codes? I don't have any command codes for this thing." "You do now, sir. They're genetic. Written into your DNA by your ancestors." Jake touched the captain's chair, and suddenly he understood everything. The ship's history, its capabilities, its purpose. He was not just Admiral Morrison anymore. He was the heir to a fleet that had once ruled the galaxy. In the skies above Los Angeles, pilot Jess Cooper was having the time of her life. The ancient human fighter she was flying made her old F-22 look like a bicycle. It moved faster than thought, its weapons could punch through any known armor, and its shields could withstand direct hits from alien energy beams. "This is Valkyrie 1 to all units," she said into her radio. "The aliens don't know what hit them." She was right. The hegemony forces that had been crushing human resistance were now facing technology they couldn't understand or counter. Alien ships that had seemed invincible were being destroyed by weapons that fired bolts of pure energy. Alien fighters that could outmaneuver any human aircraft were being hunted down by ships that moved like they were alive. On the ground, Sergeant Ryan Kelly was wearing armor that made him feel like a superhero. The ancient human battlesuit was made of the same materials as the ships, and it enhanced his strength, speed, and reflexes beyond human limits. His new weapon fired beams that could cut through alien armor like it was paper. "Second squad, advance." "On the museum," he called to his men. They were all equipped with the ancient technology now, and what had been an impossible fight was becoming a turkey shoot. The aliens were beginning to panic. Admiral Zextai watched his forces being systematically destroyed by what he had thought were primitive humans. "How is this possible?" he demanded. His intelligence officer, a creature with too many eyes and a voice like grinding metal, delivered the news that Zextai had been dreading. "Sir, we've identified the technology. It matches historical records from the ancient human empire. The empire that was destroyed millions of years ago? Apparently not completely destroyed, sir. Our ancestors served that empire. They told stories about human weapons that could shatter moons and human ships that could travel between galaxies in minutes." Zextai felt his 4 hearts skip a beat. "Are you telling me we invaded the homeworld of the old emperors?" "It appears so, sir, and they're very unhappy about it." Back on Earth, the transformation was accelerating. Humans around the world were connecting to the ancient network. Scientists were understanding technologies that made faster-than-light travel look simple. Engineers were building new ships in hours instead of years. Soldiers were being equipped with weapons that made alien technology look like toys, but it was not just about the technology. As humans interfaced with the ancient systems, they were remembering who they truly were. They were the descendants of the species that had built an empire spanning thousands of worlds. They were the children of explorers who had mapped the galaxy, and creators who had built wonders beyond imagination, the genetic locks that had kept humanity's true nature hidden for millions of years were finally opening. And the galaxy was about to remember why they had once feared the name human. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Avalon, looking at displays that showed hegemony fleets throughout the solar system. All ships, this is Admiral Morrison. Today we take back what was always ours. The real war was about to begin. Image description for Leonardo AI. Ancient human technology interfacing with modern humans through genetic DNA locks. Scientists with glowing hands touching futuristic consoles. Massive 3-mile-long human warship emerging from Antarctic ice. Human pilots in advanced silver battle armor and spacecraft cockpits. Alien commanders looking terrified at holographic displays showing human empire symbols, underground factories producing advanced weapons, genetic helix patterns merging with technological interfaces, dramatic lighting showing human transformation and awakening photorealistic scene of humanity, reclaiming their galactic heritage. The final battle began at dawn. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Avalon, watching as 300 hegemony warships took position around Earth. They had come to finish what they started, but they had no idea what they were really facing. All ships, this is Admiral Morrison, Jake spoke into his communication system. Today we show the galaxy who we really are. The human fleet that rose to meet the aliens was smaller, only 50 ships, but each vessel carried technology that the hegemony had thought was lost forever. The Avalon led the charge, its hull gleaming like silver fire as ancient weapons powered up for the first time in millions of years. Captain Ben Carter was flying escort in one of the ancient fighters, and he had never felt more alive. His ship moved through space like a living thing, responding to his thoughts before he even had them. This is Ghost Leader to all fighters. Remember, we're not just defending Earth anymore. We're taking back the galaxy. The alien fleet opened fire first, sending thousands of energy beams toward the human ships. But the ancient shields absorbed the attacks like they were raindrops. Jake watched the alien weapons strike his ship's defenses and simply disappear, their energy converted and stored for his own use. Return fire, Jake ordered. The Avalon's main weapon fired once. A beam of pure white energy, no thicker than a pencil, cut through the alien flagship like it was made of paper. The massive hegemony dreadnought, 3 times larger than any human vessel, split in half and exploded in a ball of fire that could be seen from Earth's surface. Impossible, whispered Admiral Zextai from his command ship. That was our most heavily armored vessel, but the humans were just getting started. Commander Matt Robinson, now serving as Jake's tactical officer, brought up targeting displays that tracked every alien ship in the system. All targets acquired, sir. Shall we proceed with the cleansing protocol? Jake nodded. Execute. What happened next would be remembered across the galaxy for 1,000 years. The human ships moved through the alien fleet like sharks through a school of fish. Every shot they fired destroyed an enemy vessel. Every maneuver they made was perfect. It was not just superior technology. It was tactical knowledge accumulated over millions of years of warfare on Earth. Dr. Amy Richardson was watching the battle from the ancient command center in Antarctica. She could see everything through sensors that track ships across light years of space. It's not even a battle, she said to Alex Stone. It's a demonstration. Alex nodded, his mind still connected to the ancient systems. Our ancestors want the galaxy to remember what happens when you threaten humanity. This isn't just about defending Earth. This is about sending a message. In Los Angeles, Sergeant Ryan Kelly was leading a final assault on the remaining alien ground forces. His squad moved through the city like ghosts, their ancient armor making them faster and stronger than any alien soldier. The creatures that had seemed so terrifying just days before were now running in fear. "This is Sergeant Kelly to all units," Ryan spoke into his radio. "The city is ours. All alien forces are retreating to their ships, but there would be no escape." Pilot Jess Cooper and her squadron of ancient fighters were hunting down every alien craft that tried to leave Earth's atmosphere, her weapons locked onto fleeing alien ships and destroyed them before they could reach their fleet. "Valkyrie Squadron to Admiral Morrison," she reported. "No alien ground forces are escaping. Repeat, no survivors." In space, the battle was ending as quickly as it had begun. Of the 300 alien ships that had attacked Earth, only a handful remained. Admiral Zextia's command vessel was damaged and drifting, its shields down and weapons offline. Jake Morrison opened a communication channel to the surviving alien ships. "Hegemony vessels, this is Admiral Morrison of the Human Empire. You will surrender immediately, or you will be destroyed." The response came quickly. "Admiral Morrison, this is Admiral Zextai. We surrender. Please do not destroy us. Drop your shields and prepare to be boarded." As human marines in ancient armor took control of the alien ships, Jake received reports from around the galaxy. The transformation was spreading beyond Earth. Humans living on colony worlds were connecting to the ancient network. Hidden bases on dozens of planets were activating. The human empire was awakening across the galaxy. Dr. Nicole Green, working from the Antarctic Command Center, was coordinating communications with human forces light years away. "Admiral, we're getting reports from the Centauri colonies. They've activated ancient defense platforms. The hegemony forces there are surrendering without a fight." Similar reports came in from across the galaxy. On world after world, the hegemony was discovering that the humans they had thought were primitive colonists were actually the descendants of their former masters. Ancient weapons were powering up. Forgotten fleets were leaving hidden bases. The galaxy was remembering what the name human really meant. Within a week, it was over. The hegemony, which had ruled 1,000 worlds for 10,000 years, surrendered completely. Their Supreme Council, a group of alien leaders who had thought themselves the masters of the galaxy, found themselves standing in the cargo bay of the Avalon, waiting to formally surrender to Admiral Jake Morrison. "You understand?" Jake said to them, wearing the uniform of an admiral of the ancient human empire, "that your species once served humanity willingly. You prospered under our rule. You were free to govern yourselves as long as you kept the peace." The alien leaders, creatures from a dozen different worlds, could only nod. They had grown up hearing stories about the human empire, but they had thought those stories were myths. "Those days are returning," Jake continued. "The galaxy will have peace again, whether it wants it or not." 6 months later, Dr. Amy Richardson stood in the observation deck of a space station orbiting Earth, watching as ships from across the galaxy arrived to pay tribute to humanity's return. The station itself was ancient, hidden in Earth's moon, and now restored to full operation. "Hard to believe it's only been a year since this all started," she said to Alex Stone, who now served as humanity's chief archaeologist, responsible for finding and activating the other hidden bases across the galaxy. "The Keeper says there are facilities on over 3,000 worlds," Alex replied. "It's going to take decades to reactivate them all." Amy smiled. "We have time. We have all the time in the galaxy." Below them, Earth was changing. The cities destroyed in the invasion were being rebuilt with ancient human technology. Humanity was not just returning to the stars, they were reclaiming their birthright as the galaxy's rightful rulers. And across the galaxy, every species was learning the same lesson. Some sleeping giants should never be awakened. Image description for Leonardo AI. Massive space battle with sleek silver human warships destroying larger alien vessels. Ancient human dreadnought with glowing weapons cutting through alien flagship. Human pilots and advanced fighters pursuing fleeing alien craft. Formal surrender ceremony with alien leaders kneeling before a human admiral in ceremonial uniform. Space station orbiting Earth with ships from multiple species arriving to pay tribute. Dramatic explosion scenes in space. photorealistic scene of humanity's triumphant return to galactic dominance.